भज दीन बंधु दिनेश दानव दैत्यवंश निकंदनौ भज दीन बंधु दिनेश दानव दैत्यवंश निकंदनौ रघुनंद आनंद कंद कौशल नंद दशरथ नंदन रघुनंद आनंद कंद कौशल नंद दशरथ नंदन श्रीराम 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 शिरमुकुट कुंडल तिलक चार उदारु अंग विभूषणम् शिरमुकुट कुंडल तिलक चार उदारु अंग विभूषणम् आजानु भुज शर चापधर संग्राम जित खर दूषणम् आजानु भुज शर चापधर संग्राम जित खर दूषणम् श्रीराम 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 इति वदत तुलसीदास शंकर शेषमुनि मनरंजनौ इति वदत तुलसीदास शंकर शेषमुनि मनरंजनम् मम हृदय कंज निवास कुरु कामादिखिल दल भंजनम् मम हृदय कंज निवास कुरु कामादिखिल दल भंजनम् श्रीरामचंद्र कृपालो भज मन हरण भव भय दारुणम् श्रीराम 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 पूर्ण ब्रह्मा पुरुषोत्तम पुण्य नाम सीताराम पूर्ण ब्रह्मा रघुकुलाब्धे पूर्ण चंद्रमा रघुकुलाब्धे पूर्ण चंद्रमा रजनीचर समर भीम अगणित गुण गणाधाम अखिल लोक क्षेम धाम अखिल लोक क्षेम धाम पूर्ण ब्रह्मा पुरुषोत्तम पुण्य नाम सीताराम
I see a stranger. Oh. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। We are in the fourth shloka. Repeat after me. कामसङ्कल्पसन्देहौ श्रद्धा श्रद्धे धृतितरे ह्रीर्धीर्भीरित्य इत्येवमादीन् ह्रीर्धीर्भीरित्येवमादीन् भासयत्येकधाचितिः। A long, prolonged conditioning that we are all subjected to is to identify with everything that we associate with and dance according to the tunes of that association. How many of you, when you watch a movie, cry? Holy cow. Next time I'll take you all to something like that and bring boxes of Kleenex. Almost all of you. So we get into that environment. Kabhi kushi, pura gum. A sticky environment. It's gum. So you go into that environment knowing very well that it is a projected environment. And in that projection, we associate ourselves with those characters and the development of the story or the thought or the script. So entangled with that character that it moves our emotions and we very easily dance according to those movements. Now imagine the same kind of projection happening not in a theater, not on a screen, but on our own mind as a screen. When different emotions happen, we get associated with it, identified with it, and dance according to the tunes of that association. Whatever be the content of that emotion, we become that. If there is sadness, I become sad. If there is badness, I become bad. If there is gladness, I become glad. So what we are essentially doing in the name of experiencing life is having swings according to our moods. So we are nothing but mood swinger. I love that word, half of it in Sanskritam and half of it in English. Who swings? Only moodha swings. Somebody who is foolish alone swings. So much it is ordained in our continuous conditioning that we eat, work, do things based on this mood. I've mentioned it a couple of times that I've seen you people after the Yuva Kendra class, and it has become a tradition, a ritual. We spend at least 5-10 minutes deciding where to go and then go to the exact place which we have not decided. And there you can see somebody says, let's go to Mexican. They made it, I don't feel like Mexican today. When were you a Mexican? No, I don't feel. The mood is not, I feel like Thai. Okay. So when do you feel like calf, ankle? The point that I'm trying to make is our eating choices are based on the mood. Our doing choices are based on that mood. And we constantly swing according to the mood. And that which enhances my mood is good, therefore I like. That which rubs against that mood is bad, therefore I avoid. It's another pattern that I see, that every graduating 12th grader who thinks he is wise but is otherwise wants to get far away from the existing circumstances. So if they are from California, they'll do it in New York, their undergrad. If they are in New York, they'll do it in Seattle. If they're in Seattle, they'll do it in Miami. And Texas is so big that they go to UT at Austin. But not the existing place. Why? Again, that which is against my mood, that which is constantly getting onto it, I want to avoid it. So we become experts at avoiding. So there was this fellow back in India. It was in Bombay. So this fellow, he lived in a 8th floor. So I was visiting him. So we were eating something and he had a banana. And after finishing, very callously, he threw it out of the window. Very callously. Just. If somebody steps on it and falls. So in Hindi, like, आंखें सर पे दिया इसलिए ऊपर नहीं नीचे देख के चलना पड़ता है. Just because Bhagwan has given eyes on the head, it doesn't mean you see up there. You have to look down and walk. If you can't walk, you'll fall. And he had a sudden scheduling of a meeting, and then I said, Swamiji, I'll just drop you off there. I didn't expect this meeting to come up so soon. Can we move? Meaning, please get out. Chalo. So started running down and went out. I was ahead, and this fellow was nowhere to be seen. And by the time I turned, I hear a sound, thud. What happened? He stepped on that peel. In his rush, did not see it, and broke his hip. Ran to a hospital instead of the meeting, admitted him in the hospital. So after 2 months of recovery, operations, surgeries, I still tease him as the Iron Man, because he literally has iron plates inside. So I went to pick him up from the hospital. So they're taking all his clothes in a bag and walking, and he's in the crutches walking. And suddenly we hear him sob. So I turned, I said, what happened? So he says, I see a banana peel again. It was on. I said, why? I said, should I have to fall again? If somebody were to think in this pattern, that just because there is a banana peel and they have to step on it and fall again, what do you call such person? Be liberal. Whatever is in your heart, say it. What do you call such person? Moodha. What else would you call them? Okay. Bleep. Idiot. Similarly, that was the choicest word of a Telugu. Vadhava. Similarly, just because there is an emotion, do I need to become what that emotion is dictating me to? Gurudev's definition of freedom is so beautiful. He says, to not do what you feel is called freedom. A very unusual definition for freedom. To not do what you feel like is called freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from this mind which has all these emotions. Freedom from that. Anything that conditions us, curtails us, orders us to do in a certain pattern, do we like it? Why do we not like when parents talk to us? Because they constantly keep telling, please do this, don't do that. We don't like that environment. And we butt heads. Why? Why not? Now imagine that if you step out of the whole sequence that is happening inside and observe it, that the mind is having a certain pattern, just because that pattern exists, do I have to exhibit the exact pattern that is happening out as well? Is it necessary? Just because there is this thought or emotion of sadness, I don't need to identify with it and become sad. There's a hot, piping hot cup of coffee given to you. You see the vapors coming out. What do? Do you grab that whole glass and put it to your lips directly? Unless you are that person who did that in with the McDonald's coffee and sued McDonald's later. When you see a piping hot beverage in your cup, what do you do? How do you even handle the cup? You first touch it to see if it is hot enough to handle. And then as it is coming closer, you can see the heat index and slowly blow into it. And if you are not able to, sometimes it happens when you go to the restaurants, what do you call them? The rolls, the veggie rolls, the spring rolls. So they are deep fried. From the outside, they seem handleable. You can touch it. So people put it in their mouth, take a bite, and then what is that mudra called? That mudra is called too soon, too fast mudra. You thought you could handle it, but you put it too soon, too fast, and now you can't spit it, you can't swallow it. So therefore, you're trying to blow it to a temperature that you can swallow. And then, has it happened often? You put something in. What is that Mexican thing? Burrito, deep fried. Chimichanga, huh? Foolishness. A wise one, how would they handle it? Experiment with it if it can be handled, and then swallow it. Similarly with the emotion, just because it is there, I don't need to become that. What kind of emotions? Kamaha, sankalpaha, sandehaha, shraddha, ashraddha, dhritihi, itare, absence of dhriti, hrihi, dhihi, bhihi, etc., etc., etc. Iti evam adin, etc. There are different kinds of emotions that keep coming and going. In fact, that is the greatest energy conserver. If you can observe your own thoughts, your own emotions without getting engaged in it and participating in it, you stay fresh for a long period of time. You don't get tired that easily. Otherwise, what happens? Every emotion coming, it is like I usually go in the morning walks or jogs. Hillcrest, when I go from Davenport on to Frankfurt and then turn on Hillcrest sometimes, I stopped going on those roads because there are 3 houses which have a big dog. And this dog, every time you pass, not just on the adjacent path, even on the other side, this end of the house property follows that fellow who is jogging. Whoa, 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 whoa. Every time I pass by that, I feel that our mind, the way we behave with our mind is like that dog. Just because somebody is barking, I have to keep barking. Bow, 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 bow. That is what is happening inside. What is the intelligent dog? If somebody who enters in, scare the heck out of him to chase him out. That is its job. Everybody and anybody, even there is a car going slow, whoa, whoa, whoa. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता यार. I tell you, that dog must be those 2-3 dogs must be tormented, because one side of Hillcrest is a fire station, the other side of Hillcrest is a police station. And there is a lot of accidents that happen. Cars keep going, blaring with their whoa, 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 some difference that it makes. We also happen to be unnecessarily getting attached and barking. It is not necessary. A dog barking, it cannot think better. There is a sadness that is happening, getting identified with it. And then, गम की दुनिया से, a different kind of a bottle. Or then there is agitation, restlessness, and you ask them to sit down quietly. It's like the dog wagging its tail. Control नहीं होता है. You stop this side. I know my pet peeve. There are two things, and there is a meeting on a table, and there is that one stupid fellow who keeps shaking his legs, shaking the whole table. Cut, 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 cut. Ab band kar. The other one is that the click click pens. What do you call them? Click click pens. Oh, kit, 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 kit. And they're oblivious of the fact that they are irritating. They're not aware of it. Now, externally, if we are not aware, we are not even aware of our emotions. These waves of emotions that pass by, just because they are passing, I don't need to associate with them. I don't need to be judging them. I don't need to be acting and dancing according to how they are tuning us to act. Am I making the point clear? Just because it is raining, every time it rains, do you need to get wet? And then sing, oops, I did it again. Do you have to get wet every single time? Are there methods to be in rain and not get wet? Can you tell me a few methods? Umbrella, rain jacket. It's like when the kindergartners, you ask them some calculation, say, it's a lot. I know it's a lot. What is the number? A poncho. No, you don't have the choice. You have to go out and it is raining, and yet you have to not get wet. My best solution, get into the garage, get into the car and start driving. There's no point of getting wet. What to talk of person who every time it rains is very gloomy. फिर भीगना पड़ेगा. But I don't like it. But I have to go out. That is how it feels from inside. Constant frictions. That there is this emotion and I feel compelled to associate with it, but I don't like that being associated with it, and that constant rupture, friction, and that restlessness is coming out as frustration, irritations. What are you irritated about? I don't know. If you are very sincere, you say, I don't know what is bothering me, but I'm irritated. And some of us who have learned how to camouflage it, we start blaming. We start blaming parents, we start blaming environments, we start blaming the president. He gives enough reasons to. Anything or everything that I can point fingers at for my own frustration. And where is the frustration born? Emotion which is born, I am associating with it, and that is creating a rupture, and I'm getting carried away by it, and that is causing frustration. So when you go out to trek, there'll be stones, there'll be thorns, there'll be twigs. So when you're walking, when you see a nail standing up straight, would you go and what happened? I saw a nail. Why did you put your foot on it? Just was checking if it would pierce in or not. A long time ago, when we were kids, my cousin, a brilliant fellow. So we come in from, they lived in a town nearby. So we got off the train and got to the house. As we were getting closer to the house, we could hear his father, my chachaji, scold him left and right. Buddhi hai ki nahi? And he was younger than me, so hardly about 8-9 years old. And got in, there was a serious environment. And we were told by his sister, older sister, what he had done. We had to step out to laugh because the seriousness of the situation, we would be smacked by him if he gets irritated by us. So he had purchased a nail clipper. In India, it is called nail cutter. What had he done? He took a nail, inserted in, turned it other side, and he tried it with his hands. It was not moving anywhere. So he put on his new shoes, put it in front of a chair, got up on the chair, and jumped from there to apply enough pressure. And what happened? That nail clipper broke into 3 pieces. And that is what he was being scolded for. If there is a nail, what do you do with that nail? Just so that others be also safe. You pick it up, throw it away. Nobody puts a foot on it and says, what happened? I just stepped on a nail. Why did you? Because I felt compelled to. That is called stupidity. Similarly, there is a sad or an irritable or a jealous. These are different emotions. Just because they are, I don't need to associate. Kamaha. Kamaha, thoughts of desire. Sankalpaha, that desire, when it gets the willingness, conviction to be completed, accomplished, that becomes sankalpa. That I am committed to fulfill that desire, that becomes a sankalpa. Desire to get married, you become fiancé. Now once you have taken that sankalpa, you become husband and wife. So sankalpa, the desire, kamaha, turning into a sankalpa. Just because they both came back, the example stuck in my head. Sandeha. Sandeha is doubt. Shraddha, belief. Ashraddhe, disbelief. These are all different emotions that we go through. Dhriti. Dhriti is fortitude. That if I take some conviction to fulfill something, come what may, I will accomplish it. Midway, I just don't drop it, leaving it high and dry because something came along. But I am committed to it to complete that fortitude. Itare, absence of it. I don't know if I can do it. I signed up for it, but I don't know. I have, Swamiji, I signed up, but that is itare. Hrihi, hrihi, modesty, humility. Dhihi, intelligence. Bhihi, scared, fearful. What if I do this? What if I don't do this? If should I not? Constantly in this fear. Iti evam adin. There are different kinds of emotions, different kinds of feelings that we go through. But there is something inside which is recognizing all these different stages of emotions as we are going through. In fact, there are people, it's a very hilarious situation. Especially the parents I have seen, when the kids are getting beyond hand and they're irritating, the parents also announce, you're irritating me now. If you come, I'm losing it, okay? Don't push me to it. And once I lose it, then they give warning in stages, and as they get close, lose it as well. Have you seen such people? That they keep warning every stage and they get to that stage. Quite hilarious. If you step back and still keep taunting, it's quite beautiful to observe. As it is happening, we keep recognizing it, but are not able to stop it. We become so associated with it. But then there is something which is recognizing it. You recognize something only when you see it as something other than yourself. Are you getting it? Wherever there is recognition happening, there are three things that are happening. There is somebody recognizing, there is something being recognized, and that contact, the process, is recognition. Meaning, the one who is recognizing is something other than recognized. Can we recognize our own feelings as they are evolving? There's some stupid fellow doing all nasty things, but I am in that meeting and I'm getting irritated and irritated. Then finally, I have only two more solutions. Either I get it out and give my 2 cents worth, or pretend I'm getting a call, I'll just be back. Go out and have you been in such situations? You can resonate with the example. You feel that frustration build up. There's somebody who is observing it. There's something which is observing it. That who is making the observation is aware of it, conscious of it. Therefore, it is called, that witness is called consciousness. That which is aware of all these movements. These movements are anekadha. They are different kinds. But that one who is being aware of all these movements, ekada, is only one. But that one is constantly observing. We use some colloquial language to say, my inner conscience. It was telling me. I could recognize my inner voice. We use different words. But there is something from inside which is conscious of it. About what is right, what is wrong. I was at somebody's house, and I was being driven by the father in his car. We got in, the door to the house was open. Right in front of that door was this kid, his 6-7 month old, sitting on that floor. It was tiled floor. There was something gooey, very small, tiny thing that was there. Very silently, all three of us saw that at the same time almost. Something in me said, I should observe what is happening here between father and that son. So I just stepped back to observe. He was about 6-7 months old. He looked at that father, looked at that thing. He didn't move his head, just the eyes. You know how when they show that smartness and it is visible in their actions, in their eyes? You could see that mischief in that eyes. So he looked at his father, looked at that thing. He knew that the father would say something about it. Before that father could say something, this kid, and as he's putting it in his mouth, the father is yelling out, no, don't. Before that could come out, he has already put it in his mouth and turns. Ab bol ke dikha. He can barely speak. A 7-month-old barely can speak. Barely can sit. The rest of the places where they have to go, they have to crawl. Even that fellow has an intelligence to observe कि मेरा बापू अब कुछ बोलेगा, exactly that which he is asking me not to. Someone who is observing even at that age. I was at somebody's house and the mother had to go out. They had a 2-3-year-old. Swamiji, are you okay? I said, fine. You can go. The best way to deal with such situations is, instead of saying no to the kid, go participate with the kid. He's pressing a toothpaste and you also give a hand pressing it. The kid is happy, you are also happy. And then later clean it up. The kid was busy doing something and he wanted me to see whatever he did. So he asked me to make an aeroplane. So I made an aeroplane. Paper wala, jo. And he gave and he kept. So once he threw, it went, turned, came back and hit him. It came back and hit him. And I knew he was going to cry because it hit him. Unexpected, surprised, shocked. So as it was hitting him, funny. I got up and went into the next room. He was like, no audience. Sound suddenly stopped. He searched for me in the next room. And he came into that room and he was showing me, I walked out to the next room. Came to the kitchen. I should have gone to a room wherein I would have a escape to other door. One way, I got in and I got cornered. So he came there. Even at that age, they know about observing something as it is happening. So don't tell me that at our age, we lack that skill to observe. We lack that skill to be aware of something that is happening. Wherein we can plead ignorance saying, I don't know why it happened. We very well know how it happened. As it was happening, we were aware of it. But instead of being that who is witnessing it, we participate in that emotion, encourage it, expand it, and express it. But that which is truly the witness, the one which is aware of it, is only conscious of it. It doesn't get bifurcated, it doesn't get fragmented with these emotions. It purely observes, it purely makes a note of it. So where did this whole thought begin from? Drishyam and Drk. The world which is being observed or seen through the eyes. The different things that I see are cognized by my mind. And what is received in that mind is processed by that intellect. Even the different kinds of seeing. Sometimes, have you done this? How many do you see? Multiple. There were 3 mangoes, and 2 parents and 2 kids. And father said, this has to be cut and equally shared among everyone. So this, he must have just gotten into math. So he did this. I said, Dad, I see 6. So the dad was also smart. He picked those 3 mangoes, gave the rest of them, including himself, 1 each, and said, we'll have this 3, you have those 3. The eyes with the capacity to see, the eyes which are blunt, the eyes which are sharp. There is somebody who is recognizing, I am able to see, I am not able to see. Both aspects are being observed. Even that fellow, with all his emotions, someone else is observing. That observation, or that who is observing, is aware of all these movements. Because it is aware, it is called awareness. Because it is called one which is conscious of it, it is called consciousness. The definition of self, what is the definition? It is called awareness or chaitanya, chitihi, because it is able to be aware of it. And that awareness doesn't get split with these different emotions. Are being observed by that without getting disintegrated. Without becoming the changes, it is observing the changes. Did you get the concept? Because as we move to the next shloka onwards, it will be bouncers after bouncers. Or in your baseball language, they call it as curveballs after curveballs. For that, the easiness of understanding, these first 4 shlokas have to be understood very clearly. Therefore, all 4 shlokas seem to be fragmented, like 4 different themes, but there are 4 different concepts explained. Once you nail down these 4 concepts, the integrating shlokas that go from 5th shloka onwards, which uses these regularly, they are going to go in a very serious, deep study. So if you have not read through the text, if there is any vagueness in between, please refresh and come for next week. Be ready for that. Given you enough time for prepping yourself up. Because if you don't read the curveball well, what happens? Sometimes you may have to duck and you don't have enough time to duck, you get hit. So come prepared. That will in itself be a test for you. If you are all sitting like, then I know you have not prepared. You're like, that is where it was. Now I understood. That means you have prepared well. Don't worry, you cannot imitate it. Because as you get immersed into the logic, like immediately you can see that expression on your face. It will be quite visible. Shanti, Shanti, Harihi Om, Shri Guru. Harihi Om.